Hi, this is Jim Cranston from 7 Every Minute and 7everyminute.com, the podcast and website about reimagining your life. Thanks for joining me today to talk about looking for the good in things. So let's get started. If you like what you hear today, please leave a like and tell your friends and send me a message. First off, I hope everyone had a great Independence Day. This is 2023. And whether it was a holiday for you or not, I hope it was a good day. This year, I noticed a lot of good wishes from politicians and just plain regular old people from other countries to the U.S., which is really thoughtful. So tonight's topics kind of revolve, as they often do, about looking for the good in a situation and then looking for the good in yourself. To be clear, this isn't about enjoying every situation necessarily, but you don't have to think that it's okay behavior, but rather looking for the lesson behind the event. So I've talked about this book before. Oops, and I actually had it show me by accident. There it is, Peace in Every Step. And so it's this book here, Peace is Every Step, by Nick Takyan, and he has passed away, but he has a little section in one of them called What's Not Wrong. Turn around so you can see it better. There we go. So it's a cute little section, and it's pretty short. Most of his sections are. And I leave this book next to my bed, actually. And a few times a week, I open up and read or reread a few pages. And so the section, What's Not Wrong, the gist of it is by focusing on what's wrong. You see somebody go, hey, what's wrong, man? What's happening? You don't look good. If you think about what's going right, well, let's start. If we think about what's wrong, what do? We plant these seeds of sorrow in our consciousness instead of seeds of hope and joy. So, if instead you think about what's right, it changes your whole viewpoint on everything. So for an example, maybe you got an unexpected red light. We talk a lot about red lights because they're easy, happens to most of us. We get an unexpected red light and you get annoyed, right? You could just as easily have said, oh, I have time to look at that pretty little garden, or how wonderful, I live in a place where people actually pay attention to traffic signals, although in some cities I've been in, you might not be able to say that. But might simply say how fortunate I am to be able to have a moment's break from driving. There are a lot of these are all reasonable reactions, but most of the time we kind of habitually become annoyed because, well, that's just what we do. You get a red light, now I have to sit and wait for a red light. Okay, it's up to us to change that around. And by asking what's right instead of what's wrong, you can change that entire moment into something nice, which leads to more nice moments later in the day. And so it's entirely up to you how you respond to that situation. And it's just a real simple little example. We come across them every day, all the time, where just a little thing happens, and we tend to focus just naturally, habitually, particularly in I think, Western cultures, focus on, this is impeding our progress, when in reality, it's an opportunity to enjoy something new. And that section goes on to say, right, many people wish they had things that we often take for granted, yet we don't appreciate what we do have. You think nothing, going back to the red light, you get to red light and you go, oh man, you take this deep breath and sigh when you get that red light. Yet someone with asthma would be just enthralled to be able to take such a deep breath without discomfort or wheezing or coughing. So, it's really up to us to realize all the things we do have. And obviously, clearly, the better question is what's not wrong rather than what's wrong. So continue with tonight's Improve Your Outlook sort of theme. There was a woman, Cassie, in one of James Wedmore's mentoring cohorts that I'm involved in. And she just recently made a post about a situation where she faced criticism of her vision and passion. It's related. This is all about how your outlook of life and how your outlook on your own dreams. And so she'd been really applying herself to her business and making a lot of engaging social media posts and marketing her courses and being, really involved and feeling kind of good about things. And one of her relatives completely dismissed her efforts and just directly criticized her, just completely deflated her. And like I say, at first she was completely taken aback, but then remembered a quote that was brought up in the course that you can only grow to the level of problems that you're able to handle, right? You can only grow to the level of problems that you are able to handle. It's one of those simple little phrases that's easy to say, but she took it to heart and realized she could either let someone else's criticism dictate her life and her dreams, or she could follow her heart and her dreams, live her life to the fullest, and hope that that family member could realize that she was following her passion and overcoming limits created by others. Now let's think about all the decisions we make in our own lives and how many of those are made in deference to someone else. This isn't to say you have to dominate every personal interaction and conversation. Sometimes compromise is the best approach. But if you're talking about something you hold dear and someone else makes a negative comment or criticizes you, think about it. Do you just change the subject and ignore it and move on? Or do you start, oh, I've forgotten, left piece with every step there. I'm not paying attention to my other screen today. So let me say that again. If you're talking about something you hold dear and someone else makes a negative comment, do you change the subject and ignore it and just move on? Or do you start to doubt your own dreams and goals? Remember, we've talked before about how society in general really doesn't reward things that are different. Whether you're much less successful than your peers or much more successful, it really doesn't matter. It's just you're different, and in either case, you'll probably be criticized. People will say your dreams are silly, or all you care about is money, or why don't you ever hang out with us anymore? Come on, come over, watch a movie. And meanwhile, you're trying to do things to improve your own life. They'll come up with any number of things which tend to undermine your determination to live your life to attain your dreams. And this is where you have to remember what Cassie did. She wasn't rude or mean, but she realized that the other person was speaking frankly from a position of ignorance of what was truly important to her and of what she needed to do to take her life to the next level. Happily, she was able to take that unexpected challenge and turn it into an opportunity to motivate herself to get to that next level. She is able to realize that the criticism wasn't what should be controlling her, but rather it reflected what was controlling the other person. Think about that for a second. When someone else criticizes you, you shouldn't let it control you, but you should realize that they're letting it control them. They're trying to keep things the same. It was their limitation, and she said she couldn't allow it to become her limitation. So when problems and challenges arise, either expected or completely out of the blue, remember to take a moment to view them from your own perspective and see if they're still relevant in terms of your own life, your own goals, and your dreams. If they're not relevant, honor them for what they are, someone else's feelings, but don't abandon or give up on following your own life dreams. If you truly want to live your own life to definition of fulfillment, then you need to have clarity in what you want to do and the courage to believe in yourself and the path that you are following. The only real limits you have on your life are the ones that you accept as real. When you're able to see past those limits, one way or the other, you'll find a way to live your life to be your very best self. So that's it for the evening. Please, as always, remember the war in Ukraine. We have our link page of donations at ukr7.com. The war is going on, it's dragging on, and lots of ways to donate there. And of course, World Central Kitchen is there. You can donate to them. They're active not only in Ukraine, but in other places throughout the world. Just total humanitarian aid. I'd encourage you, if you can and you're able, please consider donating to either of those causes, ukr7.com, where the links to all pages supporting Ukraine. And there's lots of links if you look around on the internet, tons of them now, which is really good. Or World Central Kitchen, wck.org. And they do humanitarian aid in the form of food to other places. It's a fantastic place. So actually, let's throw that one up real quick, just in case you didn't understand me or the transcription gets odd, wck.org to World Central Kitchen. So remember, as always, one of the best ways to care for yourself is to care for others. So if you can and you're able, please try and help somebody, either one of the big organizations or even locally, just somebody you run into, see it on the sidewalk or whatever. As always, thinking outside of yourself really changes your perspective on the world. It brings you from looking inward to looking outward, and you see a lot more in the world. It's an awesome exercise if you can afford to do it. So, as always, thank you for stopping by. If you found something interesting or useful, please pass it along, and please hit that like button. If not, please drop me a comment as to what you'd like to hear. Have a great week. Remember to live the life that you dreamed of, because that's the path to true contentment. Love and encouragement to everyone. See you next week on 7 Every Minute and 7everyminute.com. Thank you.